What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of the Burnout Brighter podcast. My name is Matt. I'll be your host for this evening's events. This is episode 145. I'm joined, as always, by my wonderfully lovely co-host, Destiny.
Hey.
D, we're at 145 now. 150 is imminent. We just hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. What's up? How you feeling?
Pretty excited, a little annoyed because I think I just heard Weasley and I told David to feed Weasley before 7, so he might come to the door and like meow and growl and everything. So if you guys hear him, sorry. He's a beggar, but he's fine.
You know what? Every time I hear him meow, I'm going to meow too, just because then they're not going to know if it's the cat or me.
Please don't be annoying tonight. I know you can't help it most of the time, but tonight just try.
I will not.
So, I'm super excited that we reached 500. That was like a huge goal for us, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One that I don't know. I didn't know. It's happened pretty quickly. Like, not over the time span of us posting to YouTube, but like, I think just within this year, just within the past 2 months or so.
Ever since like episode 100, it's been like pretty steadily going up.
I would
in the
say
last
not
couple
since
months.
Episode 100. No, I would definitely say within like the last 2 months, it's like super. I think since we did the episode featuring the singer from Forbidden Horizon.
Yes.
I think that's when Ariana started going like super up. So like super excited about that. And really excited about today's podcast because I love the Ninja Turtles. So
yeah, we are going to get into it. Today's episode is going to be all about the Ninja Turtles. And I knew as we started having these conversations that we needed a very special guest to join us. One of the kindest and best people in this whole world wide web, host of the Disney Plus Us podcast, all around incredible human being, MrMitchGeorge. Thanks for joining us, my dude.
Thank you for having me. Happy Pride. Happy everything.
Happy all the things.
Happy to be here.
Dude, we're excited to have you. But if somebody, for whatever reason, didn't know who you are, give us a lowdown. Give us the synopsis. Tell us about MrMitchGeorge.
No, I get it. If they didn't, it's fine. Software developer by day, so making the computers do the beeps and boops. By night, I talk about all the nerdy things. Typically, that's done through this thing we have called Disney Plus Us, which is me and my co-host Griffin and any number of guests. We're doing weekly stuff. Right now, we're wrapping up Kenobi and continuing with Miss Marvel every week. Every other week, we tend to have a guest on to talk about anything that they love or care about or are just interested in that's hanging up there on that there Disney Plus streaming service. And then I stream and do some other things too, but that's the thing I'm most proud of right now.
Dude, and I you had me on Disney Plus Us. I had a fantastic time rocking with you guys, so make sure you guys go check them out and support. And very quickly, I don't want to get into spoilers. I don't want to even spoil the podcast, but just in one word, what were your thoughts on this Kenobi finale if you've watched it as of yet? In just one word. That's a word. We'll take it.
One word. I can't I have many words and I will have many words when that episode drops. Probably Friday, I think, as the time of recording.
Then there you go. So make sure you go check that out on Friday to hear Mitch's full thoughts, because I'll be tuning in because I'm excited to hear what yourself and Griffin thought. Now, let's get into it, guys. We're going to be talking all about the Turtles. Destiny and I played the entirety of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge on stream just a few days ago. So if you're curious about our live thoughts, go check that out over on YouTube. But before we get into pizza time, before we get all into all the cowabungas and all the surfing endeavors, let's check in with what's new, what's been going on. D, I'm going to start with you today. D, what's new? What's been going on?
Well, this is going to be hard because I feel like we just had an episode where we talked about what was new, and now I have to try to make sure I don't say the same stuff.
Which is funny because that episode will be next week's episode, so this is technically in the past, so It's just the whole thing.
Yeah. So, what else have I been up to? I'm going to Florida. Tomorrow for my friend's birthday.
Nice.
And I've been binge watching people play The Sims because I can't play it. I get super bored. But I don't know why other people's lives are so much more interesting when they play it. It's so weird. Like, I get on there and I'm just like, Like, why do I play a game about, you know, people doing the same things that I do? Like, go to work, come home, cook dinner, use the bathroom, make
You
whoopee,
know,
you know?
I've tried to seriously get into it before, and every time I'm like, you know what, this is going to be the life that I'm going to treat well. And I make it usually about like an hour before I drown someone, before I set something on fire, before something just goes completely awry.
Before you remove all the doors and just set off fireworks in the house.
Take
We've
out
all done it.
take the ladders out of the pools,
You
you
guys
know.
are so terrible. We had a whole conversation about like why guys do this, like why they like violent games and why they like just like torturing things in games versus like women who play The Sims and why they like nurture families and like I really do want to get into it one day. I don't think those are blanket statements. I don't think all guys are like that. I know some like to nurture them, but all the
Not
men
me,
that
though.
I have met are like, yeah, set it on fire. I played with an ex-boyfriend once and he like locked his character that I made in a room. And then like that character peed on himself like over and over again and just became filthy and like super sad. And I was just like, what
Mhm.
was the point of that?
Yeah.
As Matt and I are both sitting here giggling,
Yeah.
trying not to
Yeah,
say we've
you're
done the
like,
exact
yeah.
same thing.
Straight faced. Mitch
But,
and I would never.
No.
Anyway, so like,
No.
yeah, I've just been watching a couple of content creators do that. And well, also watching some who do like really beautiful builds in the game. Like I didn't even know like some of the stuff that you can do because I've always just played with the basic stuff there. But
Mhm.
people are really creative. I think this one chick built like what was it? Like a French bistro with a bakery and then a bistro and then above it there were like 3 separate apartments. Like I was like blown away.
Dang.
Yeah, it
That's
was really
impressive.
it was really, really nice. I don't know her name, so I can't give you guys the information to look her up. I doubt you would anyways, because nobody gets set on fire and nobody drowns, so it's probably not your cup of tea.
No, I love going to content for things that I can't do well to watch other people do that far
Oh,
better than I
okay.
ever could. So
Yeah.
I'll hit you up later with it, and then you can check her out. But
They probably light things on fire way better than I ever would.
oh yeah. It's a whole elaborate Rube Goldberg machine. Great.
You guys are a trip. Anyways, so what else have I been up to? Just working. And I feel like I say that every time, but because I am learning like the ropes of the new job and everything, there's just a lot that comes with that. And trying not to be like too overwhelmed. Like they're not that they're overwhelming me, they're very, very like patient and stuff like that, but just because of who I am and my anxiety and wanting to get things perfect, I become overwhelmed. So like I have stuff that's not due until like July 11th, and I was up at like 3 a.m. last night just prepping it to make sure it was done. Matt knows how I work, so
I do know, and you also know how I work. I'd be like July 10th, be like, I should start this.
yeah. But I mean, like that's all that's been up with me. But I'm excited to hear what Mitch has been up to.
I mean, I've been up to a whole mess of stuff. Probably not as much gaming as I probably would like. We bought a home about a year ago, so kind of a new homeowner.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So a lot of my free time has just been spent on like chores and lawn maintenance and like the weird dad things you never thought you would do when you were a kid. And now I'm obsessed with my lawn. It's getting out of hand. Like I went out and bought a whole new hose and sprinkler system, and it's no joke. This stuff is no joke.
I can just see you standing there like in the morning, like cup of coffee in my hand, like it's a good lawn today. I can just totally see that happening.
I mean, something about me, I don't drink coffee. So
I don't either.
Well, you just pretend to sip it and spit it out.
Yeah, exactly. As any normal human being does.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, on the gaming side of things, I mean, I spent some time playing Shredder's Revenge with friends, and that was good. I haven't quite beat it yet, so you guys will have more thoughts than I will when we get to that part of the convo. I've fallen really heavy back into Pokemon Unite, the free-to-play MOBA on Switch and mobile. I don't know what it is. I'm an unabashed Pokemon fanatic. Like that is the one thing, encyclopedic knowledge out the wazoo when it comes to Pokemon for me. So it didn't hook me the first time. And then this time around, I don't know what it is. It's the daily grind of things to check off a checklist and do some stuff. And it's kind of a nice break from the feeling to need to always be part of the zeitgeist or part of whatever the conversation is, where we haven't had a ton of huge releases, like big releases recently that have gotten into a lot of people's hands. So it's kind of been a time to catch up on stuff. And one of those things for me was Pokemon Unite. And then the other thing that I just booted up last night for the first time was DLC for my Game of the Year 2020, if that was the year that came out. And I'm feeling really bad that I don't remember. Final Fantasy VII Intermission.
Nice.
Or Intergrade.
Intergrade. Yeah.
Intergrade. Yeah. I never got to the DLC when that dropped. And oh my God, is it so good to be back in that game.
Oh, Yuffie's
Especially
so
with
much
the
fun to
announcement.
play as. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the announcements we got of the part 2 and the Crisis Core remake, which I never played. I'm so ready for more of this game engine in my life. So I had to go back and check that one off the list.
Nice, that's awesome. So before I want to circle back around to Pokemon Unite for a second, because I'm also a massive diehard Pokemon fan. I've never played a MOBA before. There's something about the way that those games work that just gives me anxiety just looking at it. So is Pokemon Unite a good place to start? Or am I going to be overwhelmed immediately?
I don't think you'll be overwhelmed immediately. You do need to do a bit of work or research or find some content creators that are making Pokemon Unite content. I know I wasn't watching a lot of Twitch or content in general for a while there. I'd felt burnt out on the idea of content creation outside of Disney Plus Us. So I really just disconnected from gaming as a whole. And Pokemon Unite was the thing to actually get me back into it, of finding creators that are playing this game and making content about it and tutorials and finding things online. And the Pokemon facade over it, which is where my fandom lies, made it easier for me to get into and understand the mechanics, if that makes sense. There is still a very heavy dependence on finding people to play with. So if you ever do want a Pokemon Unite Sherpa to show you the ropes, I'm probably not that guy, but I'm happy to play. But
I feel like Matt got really excited. He was like, yes, he's going to invite me. And he was like, I'm not that guy.
Oh, no, I'm that guy. I'm just not that good, which is the thing. So, like, if you need someone who's an expert at all things Pokemon Unite, that ain't me, but we'll still play and have a good time.
We'll have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of really interesting things they do to make it a more accessible MOBA, especially being free to play. But there is a certain level of pay to win, which has been an issue probably since that game launched. So you can still have fun with it because like they're always running events seasonally to try and get you interested in it and things like that. But I enjoy it. It's incredibly frustrating at times, but it's kind of allowed me to wrap my head around the idea of MOBAs and actually seeing Overwatch 2 and the fact that they're going to free to play from the Xbox showcase a couple of weeks ago. I'm just like, yeah, this hero shooter thing, it's never really been my jam. But I mean, if Pokemon Unite can get me into MOBAs, maybe there's some crossover there in terms of, character driven team based games, which has never really been my jam, but Pokemon Unite's done it. So we'll see what else does.
I've had it downloaded on my phone since launch, and I've just never actually opened it. So you know what, Mitch, you've convinced me. I'll check it out, and then once I get a couple games under my belt, we'll hop in together, and we'll be perfectly mediocre together, and it's gonna be awesome.
Perfect.
Matt, what have you been up to?
Yay! I was waiting. As for myself, I've been up to a couple different things. I have gotten into a comic series called Paper Girls. There is a series coming out at the end of July over on Prime Video that we'll see. We might have something to announce about that soon. But I've decided to hop into the comics to take a read because it is finished. It is like a complete series. So I picked up the first 3 collections from the library, ripped through them, and now picked up the last 3. And it's been fantastic. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's kind of like Stranger Things, but also like time travel. And it's just kind of this whole thing mixed together. We have 4, teenage girls as the main protagonists. They're all fantastic. It's really cool. The art is beautiful. The storyline so far has been really interesting and it's captivated me. So I'm excited to kind of get through the next 3 and see where the story leads. And also then equally curious to see how it'll be adapted to once it hits, Prime Video. So I'm excited about that. Hopped into Resident Evil 2, the remake. I also picked up that from the library because having fun isn't hard when you have a library card. And the good old library system here does have video games. So with the PS5 update coming out at Capcom Showcase, I decided to take it in to jump in for my first time. And I'm enjoying it. I think I'm starting to realize that Resident Evil just might not be inherently the series for me. I always like the idea of them and I'm excited to play them. And then I actually start playing them and I'm just kind of like, yeah, all right, this is fine. So like I am enjoying my time with this one. I think I'm enjoying playing it in shorter spurts. I basically get to the next safe spot and stop instead of making myself suffer any longer and to get to the next one. And I am using a walkthrough because I can't be bothered to actually go ahead and figure out the puzzles for myself. So like I think I found my way to enjoy it, and I'm excited to keep going with it. And I've been friggin' obsessed with Neon White since it came out last week. That game is brilliant. It's so good. It's basically like Persona meets Ghost Runner with something super hot tossed in. It's a game like built around speedrunning, and as anybody knows, I am not a speedrunner. I like to do things quickly, as Destiny always tells me. I eat ice cream too fast. Apparently, it's a problem. I don't see it as an issue. I
It's
eat a
not
lot
a
of ice cream.
problem. It's just that like when other people eat it normally at like a normal pace, you always want to give them shit when you just like down it. Literally. You deep throat all of your ice cream. That's all I
Listen,
want to say.
listen.
And he knows
There
he
are some
does
of
it.
us. Listen,
like,
I know I
watched
eat
him.
it quickly, and some of us take 700 years to eat their ice cream.
It
So, like,
really I'm trying
really,
to avoid brain freeze, and you're deep throating ice cream like you want to be in someone's ice cream porno. That's literally what you're doing.
I'm just sitting here as someone who listens regularly. Like, who is listening to this now and had ice cream deep throating on their turn up right at 145 bingo card? Because it was not me. My God, but
Yeah.
oh my, yeah.
welcome
I'm
to the
with
show,
that.
buddy.
I'm with Destiny on this one. It's slow and steady on ice cream, bud. You
No,
can't
dude,
be. No,
It
it's a
gets all
race.
drippy. It goes all over your
No,
hands,
it
and your hands
doesn't.
get sticky.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Do you
like, I'm
like
not gonna
me?
walk around with a rubber glove eating ice cream. Who does that?
Eat it in a cup like I do. I don't like eating ice cream cones. You eat it in a cup or a bowl.
That's
Yes.
sacrilege.
No, it's not. Unless it's a waffle
tripping.
cone, it can be
Yes.
out of a cup. It's fine.
He's tripping. He's never seen ice cream drip all over my hands like that.
I have.
No,
I
you
watched
have
it
not.
happen.
No,
And you did nothing about it. You would just let it roll down your head. It
Right,
was so
I
weird.
would. Yeah, like
That's why
at
they give
work,
you
I would
napkins.
just
It's
get all
fine.
sticky and stuff. Right? Stop
That's what
lying
the
to these
napkins
people.
are for.
Thank you.
Anyways, ice cream aside, yeah, Neon White's been awesome. Really, really loving it. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the game. I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, and I've had like no performance issues whatsoever. It's running flawlessly. And again, I'm not the kind of person that will replay a level over and over again to try and get the fastest time. This game does a great job of incentivizing you to do so. Where like depending on how quickly you do it, you actually get actual benefits. So like if you get it on gold, you get more experience points and you get more like just kind of points dedicated to beating the level faster. Like it'll actually show you the optimal route and it'll show you little hints and stuff. If you beat it at like the silver, you can unlock the gifts. So if you run the level again, there's a gift hidden in the level that you can then take that and give it to your friends to learn more about them and to kind of level up your friendship with them. So like I'm from a lot of people are saying this game takes like 8 hours. I'm easily around that right now and not finished, which again, I'm usually the person that finishes the game at like record speed just because I keep running levels over and over again, not even progressing through the story, just because I want to like at least get gold. And there's like a diamond rank, like an ace rank above that. But I can't be bothered to do that. Because while that's cool, it unlocks like a global leaderboard, which again, not my thing. The game is fantastic. The writing's super interesting. Like the story itself has been really like has me pretty much wrapped in, and the gameplay is just so tight and so much fun. Like it might be my game of the year so far. Like that is how much fun I'm having with it. Like I know a lot of people would say Elden Ring. A lot of people might say TMNT, and like I definitely see the arguments there. But I've been in maybe a bit of a gaming funk the last little while that I've like nothing has really completely connected. Neon White's the first game in a little bit that I'm just like, I want more. I want to keep playing this. I want to keep going with it. The music is fantastic. It's so much fun. So if anybody is looking for just a really fast, cool action game with like, the Persona elements thrown in, check it out. It's on like Switch and Steam. It's fantastic. Loving it.
As soon as you said it had Persona elements, I knew that was going to be like your game of the year. Like you didn't even have to go any further. He was like, it's like Persona mixed with. I was like, he's gonna love it. He loves it.
I do love it. It's fantastic. So go check that out because it is really, really good, and I've been enjoying it. And then I've caught up with What We Do in the Shadows. That show is so fucking funny. It is the perfect brand of stupidity that just completely it just gets me going. And Destiny, you'll be happy to know that it won't be next week's show because that was already recorded on the weekend. But the week after, I'm gonna watch Sister 7 this weekend, so that way I can actually talk about it.
Oh
So get
wow,
ready,
you're actually
get
gonna watch
hyped.
something I asked you to watch like
I have to
years
watch it with
ago.
subtitles. I have other shows on in the background while I'm doing
Why
stuff.
do
I
you
want
have
to
to
watch
watch
it with
it with
subs.
sub? Why?
I just that's
Why?
the way I am. I like to read.
You literally said in the other one, like, I didn't want to watch it because it had subtitles. I was like, no, it's dubbed. You're like, what? It's dubbed? Now you're like, I
No,
have to
no.
watch
I
it with
said no, no. I
subtitles.
said I didn't want to watch it with subtitles while I was working or doing other stuff because I have to
You
pay
see how
attention to it.
complicated this person is.
Listen, this
He's
is pretty
so
straightforward.
complicated.
You eat
And I
ice
don't
cream
want to hear
fast.
you have to like focus on it. Stop. You literally focus on games. I've given you one show to watch. I want you to watch it.
I will. I'm telling you.
Because
I
it's
brought it up.
hilarious. You have
I
to
brought it
watch
up.
it in dub. Listen, you
No.
have to watch it in dub. You have to watch it in dub. Like
Okay,
part of
I'll
the
watch
character
2
is
minutes.
the voice acting.
I'll watch
Okay?
2 minutes with the dub and then I'll see, okay?
Don't watch
I'll
it.
try.
No.
I'll try.
See, I'm dub
part of
over
the-
sub, so I
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
part of the experience, Matt. Like the voice acting is so hilarious. You got
All right, fine. I'll watch the first episode in dub, and if I enjoy it, I'll keep going with the dub, okay?
All right, I
Happy
appreciate
meet
it.
in the middle.
Yeah,
Hands head
no, I
shaking.
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It sounds like it.
Yeah, no, I do.
So back to what we do in the shadows. As someone who's seen the movie but hasn't been keeping up with the show, what is there to sell you on the show that you didn't necessarily get from the movie? Like,
Matt
what is the
hasn't
pull
seen
there?
the movie.
I haven't seen the movie.
Oh God! What?
I haven't seen the movie. I
Okay.
haven't
Okay,
seen
so if you see the movie, it's kind of like not necessarily a continuation into the show, but I think if you see the movie, it's kind of like just a snippet of what the show is, and the show
Okay.
fully like embraces the characters, like the stupidity of it, like it's hilarious. And I think
Yeah.
you just get more of a background on why the characters react the way they do and kind of their relationships with each other when you watch the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're like from what I understand, there are characters from the movie that show up in the show, but they're not the focus of the show.
Right.
And like the show is just incredible. Like it's so funny. I also watched like Our Flag Means Death, which is another Taika Waititi thing, and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but like What We Do in the Shadows is like completely up my alley. I think it's hilarious, the ridiculousness of it. Like the episode where Nandor, the main vampire, tries to go and get his U.S. citizenship. I was fucking dying. Like it's just that kind of stupid that it hits so well. So if anybody's curious at all, the first 2 seasons are on Disney Plus here in Canada, so
They're
you
also
can
on
check it out
Netflix,
there.
I think. Maybe not.
Not in
thought they were on
Canada, at
Netflix.
least.
Okay.
I am so, as someone who is well versed in the whole Disney Plus thing, it is so great to have the Star Library here in Canada, because it is incredible how much content is in there, from something like What We Do to the Shadows to Dave to Atlanta, all on the same service. It blows my mind how much great content there is there.
I'm telling you, dude. So again, if you're ever gonna do Disney Plus us on What We Do in the Shadows, you know where to find us, because that show is fan-fucking-tastic. But let's get into it, my friends. We are here to talk all things Turtles. Before we get into Shredder's Revenge, I want to do a bit of a touch base. I want to see our Turtle history. Did you play any of the games? What have you watched? And I don't need like an encyclopedic rundown here, but like, you know, in memories of Turtles past, what are some of your favorites? How'd you come up on the Turtles? Dee, I'm going to start with you, because I think out of the 3 of us, I think you're pretty much the most diehard Turtles fan out of all of us. So I would like to learn a little bit about the origin of that. Please tell me.
I mean, I grew up watching it, so I guess I'm probably like older than you guys. It's usually the case. So I grew up with like the cartoon. I grew up with like the cereal. I don't know if you guys ever had cereal. Yes, there is a cereal. And it looked like Chex Mix because it was supposed to be like nets. And then like it came with a little packet of green sugary looking substance that looked like ooze that you could put in your cereal. My brother loved it. I thought it was absolutely gross. I just ate the cereal. But my brother always had like the action figures, and I had the action figures too. But I think the reason why I was so hyped about this game is like it really did feel like it was the game that I always wanted when playing like growing up. Like I always wanted to be able to play April, so that's why I played her with you, Matt. But I think one of the coolest things is that like there are references to like all of the early turtle stuff. Now, not necessarily the comic books, because the comic books were like, when they first came out, were a lot more gritty, and they actually didn't have like the personalities that they do in the cartoon. So like in the 90s cartoon, so 80s to 90s cartoon, they kind of like expanded each turtle's personality.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like what I grew up on. That's why I love them so much. I had like the biggest crush on Raphael, which everybody knows. They think it's super weird, but I was like 6, so give me a break. I also feel like this is a lot about, you know, the people I love. It doesn't matter what you look like, as long as you're a bad boy. So, anyways, my first crush was on him because he says "damn" in the first movie, and I just thought that was so cool.
How
Because
dare he?
I know none of the other turtles cursed, so he was like, he got really pissed off in the middle of New York, and he's in the street and he just yells it, and I was just like if I could do like the hearts and the stars in my eyes, like little 6-year-old me watching it for the first time. And then
just like the dam floating over your head with like
yeah.
little rainbows coming off the
I,
sides.
I was obsessed with him. I loved him so much. And then I think there was like this huge kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this huge backlash for a while against turtles, because like kids loved it so much they were like trying to do the moves, and like some kid got hurt at some point, and then they were blaming it on the cartoons and stuff like that. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was super popular then, so it got a lot of like kind of like the
Media play.
yeah. And then the cartoon ended, and then there were the movies, and there was Vanilla Ice. Oh, go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Um, but I think I only really liked the first live action movie. I didn't really like the other ones because I was really upset that April was never a true redhead in the other movies, and she didn't look like she did in the cartoon and all that other stuff. I have weird nitpicky things. But
So you must have loved Megan Fox as April O'Neil.
I didn't watch any of those.
Best ones.
Yeah, so I've heard. They didn't look right. They didn't look right. And honestly, I hate that Michael Bay takes things that I love and I grew up with, and he just Michael Bays them to death.
He's 2 for 2 between
Transformers and then this.
Yeah. I watched the first Transformers and I was super hyped until I saw Bumblebee, and Bumblebee was not a bumblebee. He wasn't a bug, and I was like, the whole reason why his name is Bumblebee is because he's a bug. And I get it that at the time Volkswagen said they didn't want their car in like something like super violent. So I was like, why not use Hot Rod, who was my second crush, who is a sports car? Mm-hmm. That would have made so much sense to just use Hot Rod instead of being like, we're going to put Bumblebee in the movie and then like not let him speak. Like I was like, who was sitting around the table? Yeah. And they were like, that's a good idea. Like, what are we going to do? Like, how about we make him mute?
Listen,
like, I mean, at least eventually they got to the point where he was a bug, and they made a good movie and explained that. And that movie was fantastic. I don't care what people say. The Bumblebee movie with Haley Steinfeld, so good.
I haven't seen that yet.
I haven't watched it either.
Watch it.
It is worth seeing.
Okay.
I would argue.
The last one I saw was with Mark Wahlberg, and he was so
ones.
dominant. He was like, oh my god, guys, I think we found ourselves a transformer. And I was like,
oh my god, it's a transformer.
Mark Wahlberg?
I can't do his like voice.
It's so bad.
Pretty well.
It was so bad. I was just
yours
like,
is better than mine.
I was like, I'm not watching this. But yeah, that's kind of like my history with it. I love it. I just bought I'm gonna move that arcade machine into another room and put up my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade machine there, which will be my glory piece. Nobody ever comes in my room though, so
we get to see it though, so we're all very happy to get to see it.
Yeah. So probably like next month sometime, I will like have it there.
All right, get ready. July 22nd is when we'll see the new room, Destiny's new room. Get excited. No, you said it. That you put a date on it.
No,
no,
that was a ballpark, if anything. Come on,
that was exact.
I'm expecting
so
much.
7:30.
He was bringing on a friend to defend him. No.
Yeah.
7:34 p.m. CST, July 22nd. There shall be an unveiling.
You are the only Leo in my life, Mitch. You are the only true Leo.
Son of a bitch!
Let's go!
Come on! I got uninvited and then reinvited. This is bullshit. What about you? What's your background with the Turtles?
So I am of the age where I'm a little young for those live action movies. They were always around. There was always toys around. Like I was born in the early 90s. So it was always around. It was part of the zeitgeist.
Mhm.
For me, the first big thing was that really incredibly difficult Turtles NES game.
Oh
The
yeah.
89 NES game, like that
Yes.
predates the arcade game. Oh, as a kid, I couldn't get past like the first sewer level. It was so unbearably
Hard.
difficult that I cannot wait. We're getting that Cowabunga collection later this year. My goal is to beat that damn game.
You can do
I
it.
won't do it, but that is my goal.
I think you'll do
So-
it.
no, I've gotten far worse at games over the years. I hit my peak around like 6 or 7, and it's been downhill since then. No, so I mean, from that, I'm wearing a Power Rangers shirt tonight because the biggest thing for me is that Turtles were kind of the first crossover, like pop culture crossover in media that I can remember. When the live action Turtles showed up in an episode of Power Rangers in space, that was like, it blew my mind as a kid. It was incredible.
You just unlocked such a specific part of my brain that I had not
Yeah.
thought of in so long. I forgot that happened. That was
It
so
was
hype.
so
never
good. It was
saw that.
so hype.
I think
Yeah,
it's
dude.
'cause I
Power
was
Rangers
too
in
old.
space.
Yeah, I didn't get into Power Rangers in space. I think I stopped watching Power Rangers after the first movie with Ivan Ooze, and then I was kind of
Yes.
I
That movie
fell
was
off
hype.
of it.
Yeah.
The movie was hype. I like
Yeah.
McDonald's was like the Happy Meal toys were the different like Power Rangers. I remember getting I wanted the black one, obviously, because I'm black. So I wanted that one. And I remember taking my toy with me to the theater. Oh my God.
Dude, I remember when the Power Rangers came by. They were doing like a tour, and they came by like Square One, which is a massive mall here in Ontario. And I went, and I got like my arm signed by them, and I was like, I'm never washing my arm again. I had to fight my parents. I did not bathe for like a week. I was like, if this shit gets wet. I was like 8. I was like, there's gonna be fucking hell to pay if I lose these signatures. If I lose Kimberly's signature, I will
Did
kill
you take
all
a
of you.
picture of it at least?
I don't remember. I wasn't. I was. It was.
This
bad.
would have predated digital cameras, so who knows?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But
Polaroid.
anyways, Mitch, back to your story.
Yeah, no. So that was the big thing for me. But I think in recent years, there's been a lot of interesting media that they've put out. Like they did the Power Rangers Turtles crossover comic, the Turtles Batman comic crossover was really, really
Mhm.
fun. So I read both those runs. They're fantastic. But for me, it's almost become a running joke. The Turtles have become this weird in joke in my group of friends because when we were like in our early 20s, we figured for Halloween one year, oh, it'll be fun. We'll all dress up as the Turtles. It'll be great.
Oh my God.
We're all like 5, anywhere. The folks who got the costumes are anywhere between like 5'7", 5'8", and 5'10", with the exception of the guy that got the Raphael costume. He's like 6'4". So we bought all these costumes that fit us fine. But the thing was like, it looked like capri pants on them. It was so bad. So for years, there's just been this war of escalation between us of just sending each other terrible Turtles related gifts for every occasion. Like my house is just full of ironic Turtles stuff. There's nothing immediately around me that I can grab, but it's gotten really bad over the years, but it's all in good fun. So Turtles has just been kind of that thing that's stuck with me through the years, even though it's never really been the fandom I've been a part of, but it's always been there. The Turtles have just always been a part of my life for one reason or
that's
another.
weird. Yeah. I feel like they
Yeah.
have been like always there.
Yeah.
I'll be really sad if they stop making stuff about them.
They can't. They're
Seriously.
not allowed.
How perfect was it that there was the Raph costume on the guy that was too short? I imagine he was pissed, which just goes in character.
Yeah, exactly. He was way too tall for it, and it was hilarious the entire night. It was great.
Should have just tossed him in a trench coat and you were good to go.
Memories.
He was looking for one. He couldn't find one.
Dang.
Oh.
We were in it was college years. We were just looking to drink and have a good time.
I mean, yeah, as the Turtles do.
Yeah.
As for myself, I think the earliest memory I have of the Turtles was the Game Boy game. I remember when I first got a Game Boy, and I don't know if there were originals or if they were just ports of the NES, SNES stuff, because I never actually played an NES or SNES too much. So I remember playing those, and I just remember them being hard as hell. I remember the elevators and the pizzas, and the thing, like when we on stream, I have a very volatile reaction to those stupid little ankle biters, those little piranha like things with legs, because I was just like, no, I just remembered you. And they killed me so many times when I was young playing that stupid game. And then they were back. But this time, I killed them. So yeah, suck it, little shits. But then I remember watching the cartoon a lot. It wasn't the OG cartoon. It was the one that was on I mean, Fox Kids. It was like probably around the late 90s, early 2000s. That's kind of like when I first got my real run in with the Turtles. I watched I think the first live action movie at some point in my life. I've watched the Michael Bay ones, which are, you know what, I think get more hate than they deserve. They are dumb, but there is something about them that is somewhat entertaining. It's one of those movies where it's just like, if you just want to turn off your brain and have a good time, the second one especially is pretty decent. But yeah, I feel like they've always just kind of been there. I've read a couple of the comics. The comics are one area that I actually have always wanted to get into more because, D, like you mentioned, I have heard they actually get decently dark and kind of weird, which has always been something that I've always been curious about getting into, but I never really have. So that's kind of on the docket, that's on the list. But yeah, similarly, I think the Turtles have just been like the Power Rangers, like the Transformers. There's just been this like ever-present property throughout life. And like, I'm glad that we have now come to the point where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is out. And it is friggin' fantastic. Before we kind of get into the whole run of it, let me give you a bit of the where you can find this thing. I should have pulled this up earlier, but I didn't.
Game Pass.
Game Pass. Oh, yeah, it's on Game Pass. So yeah, huge shout out to Xbox Canada for hooking up Destiny and I codes with Game Pass for Game Pass. That's where we played this on PC Game Pass, and we had a fantastic time. You can also catch it on Switch, PS4, Xbox, Windows, and Linux. Developed by Tribute Games and published by Emu. This game is just fantastic. It is going around. It is getting a hell of a lot of praise from all over the internet. So Mitch, I want to start with you. Give me your surface level thoughts. How much have you played? How are you enjoying it? And obviously, what turtle do you like to play as?
I mean, the answer is Leonardo, obviously. Yeah. I'm very happy this game came out when it did because it has probably saved my Fantasy Critic League for this year with how well it's been doing. So I'm so happy. When this game was first announced, I was a little apprehensive because you see .emu pop up. I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be like HD 2D. It's going to look like Streets of Rage or Streets of Rage 4, which they put out in 2020. It's going to be this really like high fidelity thing. And then it's like, oh no, we're going back to like 16-bit graphics and all this stuff, which initially was a bit of a turnoff for me when they announced this game because I wanted it to be that. But then realizing, it's not .emu is publishing. They're not developing. Tribute Games, who's known for their work on I think there's developers there that have worked on Scott Pilgrim, that worked on other TMNT properties. So there's a lot of history with this style of 2D beat 'em up. And oh my God, it's exactly what I imagined today. If I had to play a TMNT arcade game today, the way I would have, spent far too many quarters in the 90s playing that TMNT 4-person arcade game in an actual arcade, this is what I would want that game to be today. And that's, I think, exactly what they were going for. And it's such a good time. It's absolute chaos. We were in there with I think we had at most 5 people playing at the same time. And you can't follow the action. It's just bodies flying everywhere, things exploding. It's unabashed fun, which is all you want out of a good arcade beat 'em up.
Yeah, D, what about you? What do you think as the TMNT guru? Let's call it.
I don't know. I feel like I've said all that I could say, but since this is a different episode, I really loved it. It really like I've said before, it really pulled on my nostalgia strings. I think for me, 5 people is too many to play the game, because I wouldn't be able to keep up. But like just playing co-op with someone really reminded me of like when I used to play it with my little brother and like getting through things. And I realized as we were playing, like I went back and I watched our episode at so many things that I said that were mistakes because like there's so much stuff happening on the screen that you just don't know. And I know I kept going like, oh, those are the Battletoads. Those are not the Battletoads in the game. And I think it's because things were happening so fast. I immediately saw frogs and thought Battletoads, but they're not the Battletoads. So don't come for me if you go watch that video. I realized my mistake. I think one of the things that made me laugh the most is like we kept hitting tab at the same time, or what was it? We kept hitting something at the same time and like giving LB or whatever.
High fives,
and watching the progression of that, like us trying to figure out how to heal each other as we were playing and not getting it until the very end.
Yep. We kept pressing it at the same time, and we're like, why is nobody healing? And then we realized much later that it's the person that wants to give away the health that has to press it. We realized that far too late. So we're like, this shit isn't working. Why isn't this working?
I had a similar thing where I didn't realize that doing the taunt would actually give you a bar of your super meter until like 2.5 hours into playing this game. And granted, that's on me for I flipped through those instructions far too quick. I should have actually read and paid attention, but there's so much going on here that it's hard to remember everything as you're frantically.
At least you read the instructions. Matt was like, "Do you want to play?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to play." I didn't read anything. I just went into the game and just started button smashing and learning my way through it, which honestly is how you used to do things back in the day. You would just start mashing a bunch of buttons until you figured out the combination. I will say that for me, because I don't play like a ton of games, like my catalog's not that huge of things that I actually want to play, TMT will probably be the best game for me this year, just because I do have like memories attached to it and like really good memories attached to it. I would have said, like, even when we played Streets of Rage, I felt like TMT felt better. And I know it was different developers. Yeah. And I was super excited for Streets of Rage because, like, again, that's like one of my favorite games from back then. But TMT just felt so good. And it, like, I felt like instantly I got, what's the word? When you like endorphins, like playing the game, like even when you got knocked out, you didn't feel like horrible. And I think that's because of the difficulty level we picked okay, which is basically normal, which I felt good about. You know what I mean? Like I felt good about it. I think we probably could have gone up another level because I don't think either of us reached 0 and like died.
We lost like at most like 2 lives in a level, I think was the most we lost at one point.
Right. So all in all, I think it's a good game. I think it's a great game you can play with your kid. You know what I mean? I think they've made it very accessible. I loved all the like little kind of like throwbacks to like the old characters. I loved that they had little side quests from Irma and Vernon, and you were like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, they work with April at the news station."
It's a Battletoad.
They look just like Battletoads, and it's a little ridiculous. And I can't remember why that happened. And I remember there being like a little bit, but I was really young, being a little bit of controversy where people were like, "Oh, the Battletoads are a ripoff of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles," because I feel like their cartoon came out a little bit after. So that's why I was like, "Oh yeah, the Battletoads." But then as I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't remember the Battletoads being in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out where I can stream the old TMNT cartoon, and I don't know if it's up anywhere in Canada. So,
oh my god, if you can find it, it's so good, Matt. I would playing the game, and I said this at the very end. It felt like watching an episode, like watching episodes of the old show. Like that's basically what that was.
And I think that game nails it. Like it really is like a ton of fun. Like I had such a blast playing with you, Destiny, and like just like working our way through it. I thought the level design was great. I thought the combat felt so smooth. There were multiple times like D and I were weirdly in sync that night. Like there were multiple times at the same time where we're like, this song is so good. Did you see that animation? That was Ninja's playing Game Boy. So it's like there were so many little things that just had us like completely enthralled the entire time. And I think it nails that Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes.
Like, I really do think it pulls you in that way. Even the levels are kind of structured as episodes to kind of help generate that feeling. And I think it nails it. I think the difficulty is perfect at okay for anybody who's just looking to have fun with it. Because like I know people are like, I know I've seen complaints online about like, oh, it's too easy. And it's like, I'm sure you can crank up the difficulty in the arcade modes and stuff, because a lot of people do have fond memories of the original TMNT games and how absolutely ball crushingly difficult they were, which like to each their own. But I'm not going to TMNT looking for fucking Dark Souls. I just want to have fun. I want to beat turtles, beating the shit out of ninjas, and just having a good time with it. And for the people that do want more out of it, well, that option is there for you. I think it's so much fun. There's a sick part of me that wants to try the 6-player mode.
We have to. It has to happen just to see the chaos.
That's what I mean. I want to see how fucking stupid it gets.
I don't know what you guys are gonna do about Leonardo though.
I will pull the Leonardo move and let Mitch be Leonardo, and I'll be somebody else.
I also don't mind playing as somebody else.
No,
to be
I already
honest.
did it first. I'm the bigger person.
Yeah,
You guys
we know.
so Canadian. I don't.
Sorry.
No, I love it.
Sorry.
Because I was talking to my friend, and she was like, we were talking about some movie that I think you should watch, Matt. And it's not
What
what
movie?
you think it is. I have to remember what it's called, and then I'll tell you. But she was like, "Oh, you should have Matt watch it because he seems pretty woke." And I was like, "Oh, it's so funny." He's like Canadian, and she was like, "Oh." That makes sense. And I was like, it does, right? And it's weird that makes sense. But the reason why that makes sense is because, like, and I'm not saying this for all white males who live in America, but a majority of the time you would get into an argument about certain things, right? But with Matt, he's just open to listening, and with Darren and with Lou. So I was like, yeah, girl, all of those guys are from Canada. She's just like, oh, okay. Now that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, you hope that there's good in everyone and all of that, but I mean, you do see. I think it was last week, the Toronto chief of police actually came out and said they have systemically, like, they are more likely to pull weapons on black individuals than white. And while it's terrible to see that sort of systemic racism still there and part of that, police culture, they admitted to it, which
you can't, you won't get that here.
Exactly. You'll just get arguments anywhere else.
You do. It's like from somebody who, like, and I know this is sounding shitty, and this is kind of like a satirical thing, but he's either had a black girlfriend or he's married to a black woman, or like you know what I'm saying? Like,
black best friend.
But usually they want to argue with you. Like the fact that people still argue that racism isn't alive and unfortunately in the United States always blows my mind. So anyways, that was like a compliment that she was saying, because I was like, yeah, most of the white guys we have on are from Canada. I didn't even think about it, but I was like, that's why they seem all woke and willing to listen.
Right. Meanwhile, we have motherfuckers like Aaron Sini who still argues that Recess is a bad cartoon. Fuck that guy.
First of all,
what?
Wait, no. We are going to have a completely different podcast about that. And there is a reason why we said Recess wasn't as good as another cartoon, but we're not going to get into that right now. It's trying to start shit. No, it's not going to be too.
Was it The Weekenders?
It wasn't The Weekenders.
The Weekenders is fucking fantastic.
That one I'd be like neck and neck, but where is it on Disney Plus? I need it, but
exactly.
I don't know. Recess.
Me and Aaron are a little bit older than you guys, so like our cartoon picks were from a different time. So we were like the Rugrats, and he was like, you want to talk about being young and fucking around, because that's what Matt was saying, like Recess, and he was like the Rugrats, and then we were all like, oh yeah, the Rugrats, which you also agreed about, Matt. Like you agreed.
Yeah, Rugrats is good. I don't disagree.
I also think Rugrats is a better cartoon than Recess. Matt, I'm sorry.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, then why are you always starting
Where are we
mess?
arguing? I'm confused.
He just wants to start mess.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay. So we all love
Turtles.
Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, turtles. I like turtles.
I like turtles.
I like turtles. What I want to know.
Video.
Yes.
Little kid being like
kid.
interviewed. He's like turtles.
I like turtles. He probably had turtles on the brain. So what I want to know out of you guys is, obviously this game is off to a huge start. It's a huge success. People are loving it all over. Some nitpicky stuff. Some people complain about the length. I think the length is perfect. I think it works perfectly for that one sit down session and just, knock the game out and have fun with it and go back in if you want to. But what I want to know is, for the sequel, for Shredder's Revenge, for whatever we might get next.
Shredder's Revenge.
Mecha Shredder's Revenge. I'm talking. There we go. What would you guys want to see the sequel do better, do differently? What would you want out of the next entry in what will hopefully be a new series? Mitch, I'll go to you first.
In the second movie?
Probably. No. It's been a long time since I've seen those movies.
I can't remember. I was pretty sure he died in the first movie, because in the first movie, like, they throw him he falls into the back of a trash truck, and then like Casey Jones walks by and he hits the thing and he's like, whoops, and then you see his like mask and like some blood, and he gets crushed, and I was like, that's the end of Shredder. But then I was like, was he? I don't think he was in the other movie.
Apparently
spoilers for TMNT 2.
Yeah, for Secret of the Ooze. Shredder does come back to take command of the Foot Clan. and he
See,
wants to get revenge on the
I
turtles.
thought he died, but I guess
Yeah.
not. Okay, so I guess we can see him in a second game. But I honestly I'd be
He
okay if we
becomes
just
Super Shredder with the ooze.
Yeah,
Is this
okay. See,
unlocking
that's why I
anything
was
for you?
confused. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That sounds
And it
right.
had the weird turtle baby thing that they made in that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was yep.
Weird movie.
I literally think that if they do the next one, I just want Vanilla Ice to do a song for it. That's
We didn't even talk about how good the soundtrack is in this game.
soundtrack
Oh my god, this
so
soundtrack
good.
slaps
So
so
good.
hard.
Apparently it's on Spotify now, so I know what I'm
Oh,
doing.
it's on Spotify?
Yep.
My voice got so high.
I mean,
They
I'm an
did
Apple Music
really-
guy, so I'm really hoping it's there too.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Yeah, Shredder's Revenge. Here it is. T. Lopez. T.
Oh
Lopez.
my god.
Yeah,
I bought
this-
the soundtrack in the game and all of that stuff at the little the box set. So it's pretty
Dude,
exciting.
we had members of Wu-Tang do a song, which was fucking
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
good.
the next one they have to have Vanilla Ice on it because I just feel but you know what? I guess they already kind of pulled from the second movie because he uses the ooze at never spoiler. Anyways,
Very
so
story heavy game.
yeah, so I wonder who the I guess Krang. I guess you could fight Krang, but because he kind of gets away. Yo, his animation when he was laughing the first time killed me. His little jiggly
So good.
brain body. Why
A little
that didn't
jiggle brain
scare
body.
me as a kid, I don't know, because that is the
Right?
most horrific thing. It's a brain with eyeballs and a mouth and a stomach.
It's fucked
It's
up.
gross.
It's
real
so
gross.
Super
gross.
Mitch, what about you? What would you want out of a Shredder's Revenge 2?
Two things. Crossplay at launch, because right now you've got crossplay between Xbox and PC, but other consoles are coming later. I want that at launch. That is one of the best features a game like this can have, because you want to play this with your friends, no matter where they have the game. The second is no more difficulty trophies or achievements. It's one of those things that I'm an advocate of, just because I feel like those things can be a bit gatekeepy for accessibility reasons, for people not being able to feel like they've completed the experience or had the full experience. I understand it is a more traditional or classic arcade style games. You want to have that difficulty spike, but at the end of the day, everyone should be able to reasonably, given enough time or effort, do these things. And unless I didn't actually dig into the accessibility menu much, so I don't know if there's anything in this game in terms of assists that could potentially be turned on to make a quote unquote hard mode more accessible. But that would be another thing too, just making it so that anyone who wants to play this game can finish everything in this game, including those more difficult to get trophies / achievements.
Yeah, I don't
That's
really have an issue with skill-based stuff like that, as long as, again, if you can do it given a reasonable amount of time and effort, and it's not being oh, you're gonna have to fucking suffer to get an achievement for this video game that you're enjoying.
Yeah.
So well said, Mitch. As for myself, I think the biggest thing that I want out of a sequel is just a little bit more level variety. Because while I do think we have some cool environments in this one, I do think that the levels all end up being a little samey in terms of all you do is run right and there's an elevator here and there. I want to see them do some weird stuff, have parts of the elevator drop off, and if you're separated from your friends as you have to try and fight until you get to the top, or do some kind of cool weird stuff with some of the levels, because I feel like this game, like you said, Mitch, is kind of how I remember the old games to be in this day and age. This game really does capture the magic of the classic TMNT games, just brought to the year 2022. And what I want to see them is them kind of for a sequel, take a step past that, make it a little you can keep the art style, you can keep the graphics, just get a little bit weirder with your level design. Make it so make more traps, make weirder pathways that you can take, just get a little more varied in your level design. And I think that this, especially playing Neon White right now, which again, it's not the same game, but just the level design and the lengths that they go to make each level feel completely different from the other, I think is just could fit a game like this well in a potential sequel. So I just want to see them get weirder with it, because I think the classic aspect of this game is 100% nailed. But just for a sequel, I don't want just more of that. Get a little weird with it, get a little more experimental with the level design. I think they would really have something incredible on their hands. But that's kind of what I would want out of it.
So what I'm hearing is, rather than left to right, you go right to left.
Right to left,
whole other game.
Yeah.
Completely up and down, right,
Oh,
diagonals.
I mean, Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Nope, Mitch, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say the one thing that I don't like about these older style of beat 'em up arcadey games is the segments where you're like on rails and moving. So like the segments where you're on the hoverboards or whatever. I'm not about that life. I have flashbacks to like the Power Rangers games from the 90s. I'm just like, nah, I ain't about this.
I suffered.
So maybe just get rid of those.
I suffered so much. I like those because I think they break up the stuff weirdly.
They do.
But I suffered so much. I could not get a single fucking pizza in those levels because my dumb ass kept trying to jump into them when they were on the ground. Destiny's like, I got the pizza. I'm like, I missed it again. I have 1 bar of health left.
High five.
And then I got no health anyway.
We knew with the high five how to work it. But I like the side scrolling game. I think the whole point of that was to like kind of like be that game, to have you remember that. I necessarily don't think I want them to change the gameplay all that much if they do a second one. I think yes.
So what I mean is like I don't want them to change the right to left, like, or left to right. I mean just like even like split the level, like put it about like some like shadow level or something. Like I mean like get a little weirder with the left to right. So I wouldn't want to change.
That was me making a dumb joke.
Yeah. The way the game works.
No, I knew that's
so, like,
not. I know that's not.
Yeah.
Do I look really dumb today? Like I know that's not what you meant. Like,
no. So, anyways, what I mean, Destiny, is
oh my god, don't mansplain. We're done. Anyway, so what I was saying is that like I really like the setup just in general because I like those type of games because it's the same for like Streets of Rage. Like it's that old school moving from, it's a side scroller. That's what a side scroller is. Now if you were to do something a little different where it's like the old school Aladdin where you're jumping on different platforms or something like that, they can definitely do that because it's still within that same realm. But if you did too much, I feel like it wouldn't necessarily be a side scroller anymore, at least in that traditional retro sense.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that game that was just announced where it's kind of got like this 2D plane and you're playing sort of, it's sort of like a Zelda style game and then it pops out in like a 3D world.
Oh,
what is that game called?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I tried Googling it really quick and I couldn't come up with it quick enough. But what if they did something like
Wire?
That would be cool.
Something along those lines?
Squire.
Oh my god! And then if you popped out of like a comic, like if it was like in a
the
comic,
Plucky Squire.
Yeah, the Plucky Squire. I can't wait to play that. That looks so cute.
Me too. It looks so good. But like, what if they did something like that, where there's these 2D elements to it, but then you're in this 3D platformer type world, and you're trying to figure out a way back to your brothers or something like that, or they just co-op in that way too. That would be cool. Super dope.
I think that would be a whole different game altogether, though.
Of course,
it's not this game.
But I think that would be really cool. Especially
just
if
my
you were
brain going to weird places.
No. Now I'm like all about it. Especially if you were like a toy and you were in a kid's room and you were trying to get to like that. That would be really, really dope. Yeah. Are you guys listening? Are you listening?
Yeah,
it's like Toy Soldiers, but TMNT.
Yes.
Yeah, you can give them different costumes. So like Leo could be like a cowboy, and like Raphael could be like a
trench coat.
Space.
You're
space
saying
ranger.
That, but they literally have total action figures dressed up as some of the stuff you just named, because like they try to go out and they're like, we don't want people to know we're turtles, but they always look like turtles.
It's the brown hat and the brown trench coat, and they're just like
there's one in a cowboy outfit. There's like a couple of them like collectibles where they're in weird outfits.
See, I was just trying to make a stupid Toy Story joke, and you went ahead and mansplained it away, Destiny. So
I'm not a man, so I womansplained it, and you're welcome.
Yes. This is just me wanting to go back and watch the episode of The Toys That Made Us on Netflix about the TMNT toys. Because if anyone hasn't watched that series, it's
you haven't watched it? Matt, it's so good. Watch the TMNT one.
I want to watch the sub.
And the Power Rangers one. Watch the Power Rangers one. It is incredible the kinds of things they get into.
Hold on, Mitch. Did you say you wanted to watch the sub?
I did.
You're so dumb.
I love how like Mitch tried to power through, and Dustin, your entire face was just like, "Hold the fuck on! What did you really just say that?" The thing I love about Destiny is you can always know what she's about to say before she says it because her face, like she can't hide it.
Gives it away.
That's amazing. But yes, that brings us to the end of the show, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Mitch, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. I hope you come back again and rock with us again in the future.
Anytime, you let me know.
Yes. If people wanted to find more of you, sir, where could they do so?
Best place, honestly, is Twitter. That's where I put out all my weird, dumb stuff. So that's at MrMitchGeorge. That's MrMitchGeorge on Twitter. Links to every other social and Twitch and YouTubes and all those things can be found at MitchGeorge.com. And then the podcast, Disney Plus Us, wherever you're listening to this, you can find it as long as it's not on YouTube because we haven't done that yet. We're working on it. But if you listen to podcasts, you like listening to podcasts, anywhere you can find them, Disney Plus Us. And that is at D Plus Us on Twitter.
Nice.
Please go support Mitch and the crew over at Disney Plus Us. They're doing fantastic work, and it's just a joy to be a part of. So go support. Again, Mitch, it's been an absolute pleasure. D, if people wanted to find more of you, where could they do so?
Oh my God, we do this every time. So you can find me on Twitter at DMBC32. You can also find everything else about me down at the bottom because we post it on every episode. So I don't have to repeat it. Every episode, just if you want to find me, I'm down there. Matt, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at burnout_Matt. You can find us here every week at youtube.com/burnoutbrighter. For whatever reason you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please do so. Like, share, hit that bell so you know when our shit goes live. If you are listening, please, on whatever service, hit us with those 5 stars. And once in a while, when we remember, we like to go into the reviews and read them out loud on the show. It's usually like once a year when one of us remembers to do it. So please leave us a nice surprise there. It helps us grow. It helps us reach even more people. And yeah, make sure you do all of that. You can also find me over at Carpool Gaming, where I co-host the PlayStation Drive each and every week, where we talk all things PlayStation. That, my friends, brings us to the end of the show. It has been an honor and a privilege, and we will see you. What?
You can also find us over at Level 1 Gaming because we will have a show called Bonus Level, which will be going up on Thursdays, I think, but we'll let you guys know for sure when that is because Matt forgot to tell you guys. He's so good at mansplaining, but he forgot that. So
yeah, I'm not good at level splaining.
Yeah, obviously.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Peace out.
Bye.
I'm just sitting here as someone who listens regularly, like who is listening to this now and had ice cream deep throating on their 145 bingo card? Because it was not me.